Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to a brand new episode of Sip and Share. Sip, sip, and share. Let's
Sip
go.
and share. Sip, sip, and share. You're offbeat. Let's go comes after 3 times.
Okay. What are you sipping on today?
Today I am drinking for the people's Japanese matcha tea. What about you, babe?
What's wrong with your voice?
What was wrong with yours?
What's wrong with it?
Hey,
I ain't
welcome
sipping
to another
on Japanese.
episode.
What is that? I'm sipping on coffee. Just some good old Starbucks coffee.
Homemade Starbucks.
From the Kirk.
We don't have the bucks for the real Starbucks. What? We don't. So we bought the Keurig.
Now that everybody knows what we're sipping, what are we sharing?
Today, well, I'm just saying we don't have the bucks for the Starbucks. You can buy $14. Is it $14? You can buy like 22 pods, but you go to Starbucks twice and get a drink, but you're gonna drink off of that 22 times. Just FYI, I always like to give like a little something.
Sure.
Like y'all can go actually get the coffee, making it at home, and you save some money.
Hey,
Yeah.
that could be said for everything.
Yeah. But what are we talking about today? It is March, and March is
Women's History Month.
It may be a lot more other things, but
yes, more
we're
prominently
talking
known
about
for Women's
History Month.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're kind of coming on here blind, y'all. We didn't do any like research. We didn't want to come off as like, what do you call those little school shorts or whatever that used to come on? Like that teach you stuff.
PBS type.
Yeah, like the little PBS. We're
public
not trying to
broadcasting,
be PBS today for you. We're just real people, and we're going to be sharing some thoughts as it pertains to women's history.
Absolutely.
So the first thing that came to my mind was like, if you, in your mind, who as a woman is like prominent? Who comes to your mind like first when you think of prominent women in history?
Man, that's a good question that you kind of hit me with on the spot that I wasn't really ready
purposeful.
for. But I'm just gonna tell you the first person that came to my mind is Coretta Scott King.
Oh, really?
That's the first person that came to my mind.
Really? Okay.
Because as we look at things from a different lens and we become more educated on things, a lot of times we immediately think about that person that's right in the forefront and that's well known for X, Y, and Z. But I also think about the fact that, behind every great man is an even greater woman, right? And so we like to often praise Dr. Martin Luther King, during Black History Month and other times as well. But I think you and I have talked about looking deeper and looking behind the scenes, so to speak. So,
yeah.
Maybe he would not have been able to successfully achieve some of the things he had he not had the support of Coretta Scott King.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us, now that you talk about her, a lot of us are some Coretta Scott Kings of the world today. Different scenario, not going through necessarily the same things, but, they had kids. And, she held down the forefront of, like the family for them. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
While sometimes there's men out there, they're out there doing their jobs, they're out there conquering the world per se, and then they got family, right? And then there's somebody that got to hold all that stuff down.
That's right.
So that was a good person to bring up.
How about you?
Immediately when I thought about it, and I kind of hate to mention this one only because it's like she's so current, and I think it's just because I want to meet her so bad. But the person that I bring up is Michelle Obama. I just can't help it. I just, that is definitely somebody that comes to my mind when I think about women's history. Now, I know it, some people like to go like way back, even before Coretta Scott King. People probably like, why y'all ain't talking about somebody way, way back? Well, you got to talk about the people who have most effectively
impacted
your life, right? And I'm not saying the people before that hadn't, but they paved the way for these people who then paved the way to affect
history doesn't have to be a long time ago. Yesterday is history. So if it's somebody that impacted you yesterday, that's a historical moment. And so you identify Michelle Obama. Ironically enough, it's very similar to, almost similar to, what I mentioned about Coretta Scott King, right? Not only was Michelle behind the scenes, so to speak, helping Barack Obama be able to do the things that he was able to do and overcome and achieve. But she was also simultaneously getting after her own ventures as well. So yeah, I would definitely say
Yeah.
so.
But
From
I will say for Michelle though, while Barack was in the White House, she may have been a little more. I don't even know if she was ever really truly behind the scenes,
Sure.
because she got popular, and then even as they left the White House, her popularity just skyrocketed, especially with her book Becoming. I mean, that book is just so good, and The Light We Carry. I'm still like almost done with that one.
Still carrying
Um,
that book, huh?
I'm still carrying the light. But it's also a good book as well. But I just think for her, she gave up a lot. If you ever read about Michelle Obama, she had her own career. As a matter of fact, when she met Barack, he was like a protege. He was somebody that was being mentored kind of by her. He was on an intern. And that's how they met, right? So she was already well on to doing her own things. And it just shows her love and commitment to him to be able to lay down some of her things to follow him and to aid him, not just follow him, but aid him, because a lot of times it was her speeches or her sayings that was also like reaching certain aspects of
Absolutely.
people. Like her story about her father reached those workers,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then just her being a woman reached women, right? And then just to the point that even for Hillary Clinton and that famous line, when they go low, we go high, just speaking, she just like, she was behind the scenes, she worked the scenes, she worked her way out of the scenes, but she was already had some value, and then that value just quadrupled.
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
really.
You just make me think about cultivation and cultivators. A lot of women out there are cultivators, and they're out there, building things up, building people up, planting seeds. I'm not going to be able to remember who said the quote. I'm probably going to misquote the quote, but there's a quote out there that says something to the extent of, "Our role today should be to plant seeds for trees we will never see at their full growth." Right? So we're out here planting seeds, and we may not necessarily even be around when those trees actually start to produce more seeds, and so on and so forth. So I think that, as you mentioned, with Barack initially being kind of underneath her wing, she actually planted a seed, and maybe from a public media perspective, he grew in that aspect, and she assumed a different role, not a lesser role, but a different role, which is why I think it's important for us to celebrate Women's History Month as a whole, very similar to Black History Month. If you think about why we celebrate Black History Month, why we celebrate Women's History Month, because there were times when some of those folks were out there doing some great things that were not being publicly recognized. And I personally feel that we're still trying to bring attention and draw light to some of the great accomplishments that women have accomplished in the past, that are accomplishing today, that will accomplish in the future. And we just can't necessarily let those people remain in the dark.
Yeah, and the thing about it, like the same thing with Black history and women's history, these are minorities.
Right.
These are the stories of minorities. And I'm thinking about Maya Angelou, and in the African American History Museum, the quote that we are our ancestors' dreams.
Wildest dreams, absolutely.
And so I there's so many people that we study and that have impact. It touched my heart that one of my awards one time was the Harriet Tubman Award. And as I sit here and I think about Harriet Tubman, and which I had lately, I don't know why, I was thinking about her for some reason, and I was like, what bravery it took for a 5-foot woman, a woman, to keep going back and forth to save people, to even be a spy as well. So I'm just like, like if I were in those times, would I have that bravery? And I think about that fact that I have a foundation where I'm scared of things that I should not, like she gives me this courage, this bravery, because if she wasn't scared back then, why should I be scared now?
Ooh, that's good.
Like,
That's
why should I be
valid.
scared
Why
now,
should you be
right?
scared now?
So you can draw courage from these women. You can draw strategy from these women. You can draw intellect from these women. The words they say, the way that they operated, it just moves you in a different direction
Yep.
when you think back on her story.
Yep. As I look around, and of course, I live with a glorious woman, obviously. But what I realize is that women are designed to carry a lot. They're designed to carry a load. Hence, that's why they carry babies. That's why they, go into birth. They can endure a lot of pain. They have endured a lot of pain. Still endure a lot of pain. Women, in my opinion, carry a lot of weight. They bear a lot of pain. They take a lot of the brunt of the things, the negativity that comes their way, and yet they still shine and they still stand. And so for me, I salute, hats off to all the women that are out there, making history even as we speak. So for everyone that's listening, watching, just make sure that you continue to dig a little deeper as before, and shed some light on some of those people that are actually the great women that are out there doing some great things in the world today.
And if anything that I could leave you with as a woman, or even a man, because I don't think it's like one sided that a gender can't affect another gender, right? But I would have you to look back on these people's stories and to look at your life and what foundation, what trampoline even that they gave you, that you can leave a legacy behind as well. You always talk about standing on the giants of shoulders. The shoulders of giants, yep. Standing on the shoulders of giants. Mm-hmm. There are some giant women out there, and we can stand on their shoulders, but we must act and do something, because they did so much when times were so different from now. And we have the luxury of having more of a voice, having more of a participatory part in our world. Just think of what history you can leave behind, what her story you can leave behind.
Very well. With that, I'm going to kiss the woman sitting next to me for Women's History Month.
All right, y'all. So that's it today for Sip and Share. Go out, go learn about some women, compare it to your life, and do something. Act.
Let's go.